everybody, I'm Niara, and I'm here to talk about some things that weren't really talked about in training or when I was in training. So I've come up with a list of 7 things, and I know some of you may already know these things, and others of you are probably new to the aviation field. Want to try to get your toes wet to see if this is something that you want to do, if this is something that is fun to do, or maybe you just want to know some behind the scenes things that happen when you become a flight attendant. So either way, I'm just here to tell you about 7 things that they did not tell us when we were in training. So start with number 1. Just know that commuting is a job. If you are based in Dallas, but you live in Atlanta, you will have to, on your own time, get to Dallas before that trip starts. So if the trip starts at 6 o'clock a.m., you will need to be in Dallas by 6 a.m. So that will mean that you will be flying in the night before, or you'll be flying in the day before, so that you can make sure that you're in place by 6 a.m. Also, that means once the trip ends, if you have a late release, maybe you get off at 8 o'clock, maybe you get off even earlier, like at 3 or 4, you will also have to work in going home. So you want to make sure that you have that jump seat booked. You want to make sure that nothing you do could get in the way of not getting home when you want to get home. Of course, there are rolling delays that happen. So maybe you're late getting in, but luckily, the rolling delays are happening and now you are able to still catch your flight. There are also situations where you'll find yourself needing to use other airlines possibly because maybe you were delayed, but no other flight was delayed. None of your flights home weren't delayed. And so now you might have to use another airline to get home. And that can work out in your favor a lot of times. So, you have options when it comes to commuting, but just know that commuting is a job. And no, you will not be paid for commuting because in the airline's eyes, that's a choice. You are based somewhere else than where you live, and that's just a choice in the eyes of the airline. Well, one thing that I can say about commuting is that if you're on top of things and you're punctual, usually you're okay. But if you're one of those last minute people, like, you have to learn how to start planning accordingly, because once that jump seat is available, you need to book it. Once it becomes available, if it becomes available at 2 o'clock 3 days before, you need to make sure you have your timer set so that you can get that jump seat booked, depending on where you're going. But if you are going to a smaller city, a smaller airport, sometimes it can be hit or miss because you may notice that you have regional carriers going to those smaller airports. So if you work mainline, you can't jump seat on the smaller jets jump seat. So you will be on standby. And that is a job in itself, making sure you're there to be put on that standby list if you can't list yourself for another airline. So it's really crazy. It can be really hectic, but know that you have to work at it. If you're in a base that's junior, being at a junior base is a lot of fun. You're flying with people that are of the same seniority with you, sometimes of the same age with you. You have fun on your layovers. You do all these amazing things. But if you're commuting to this junior base, chances are that there are several of you all trying to commute to and from this base. So that's where you have to be diligent, and you have to be time conscious, and you have to be a planner, and you have to stay focused, and you have to work at it. Because once you get on the plane, that's the easy part. But you have to do your work. You have to just remember that commuting is a job in itself. Another thing that they don't really talk about in training are the long days. 12-hour days are standard. If your first flight is at 6 a.m., you may not be getting done until 6 p.m. It's not really talked about that much because you may be working 3 flights that day. You may be working 4. Some airlines have you working 5 to 7 flights in a day. But just know that just because if you're starting at 6 o'clock, your day will not end at 3. It could possibly end at 6 p.m. 12-hour days are very normal in the aviation industry. I think the FAA allows us to work like 15-hour days. Every company, every airline is different, but they take into account things like delays, mechanicals, flight attendants time out at a certain time, and that timeout does not include food. Sometimes that timeout can be just sitting on planes delayed. It could be sitting in the gatehouse delayed. 12-hour days are just standard, and oftentimes it doesn't even include your hour and 30-minute prior pickup time. So you'll find yourself waking up, you'll find yourself pick up at 4:30. So you've been up since 3:30 or 3 o'clock. Pickup was at 4:30. Your first flight was at 6 a.m. Your first flight is just now starting at 6 a.m. So, it's like, and you may have 4 flights that day. So 12-hour days, just know you are going to be on your feet a lot. You're going to be walking, moving, carrying on. 12-hour days are the standard. So you can have shorter days, of course, but just know that there are a lot of 12-hour days in trips. Number 3, meals are very hard to come by. You will see flight attendants pack with like 3 bags, and one of those big bags is sometimes a lunchbox. It's easy to always carry some snacks on you and things like that because you need something to eat, and you don't always have time to go grab something. So just know, if you're ever a passenger and you sit in the gatehouse and you see the flight attendants walking up with their Popeyes bags or their Chick-fil-A bags or their fresh to order bags, just know that they probably haven't had breakfast and this is their only meal of the day. So this meal is very important, and we really don't care how anybody feels about it because we need to eat. And sometimes with meals being hard to come by, like I said, flight attendants will pack lunch, but packing lunch is a job. You have to make sure your food stays cold, so you're always trying to find ice. You may get to the hotel room, your refrigerator may be broken. You may not even have a refrigerator in your room. And for some, they'll charge you $10 to use their refrigerator. They'll charge you $10 to leave your food in the refrigerator downstairs because it's not for public use. So some people don't even like to be bothered with that and will not refuse to pack a lunch. And trust me, I understand. And you would too if you have to carry around all that food. So if you're not training or, trying to start doing some competitive training, or maybe you're just into fitness, or maybe you are on a budget crunch and you're trying to, pay off some debts, like packing food can sometimes be a headache. But just know that you're going to want to pack something, some type of snack that you love to eat, because meals are very, very hard to come by. Number 4, reroutes are random. It could be a beautiful sunny day in Dallas, but just know Phoenix, Arizona could be having a heat wave and the tarmac is melting. This has happened in real life, okay? It was so hot in Phoenix one time that the tarmac was like melting. It was squishy. No planes can land. So now we're delayed. Everybody's mad, but planes can't land on a mushy ground like that. We can't do that. The tarmac is melting. We got to wait a little while. So just because it's sunny in Kansas City doesn't mean that it's sunny in Atlanta. I think people sometimes miss that with geography. Tornadoes are touching down in Alabama and Mississippi, but because it's a beautiful day in Philadelphia, why aren't we leaving? Why aren't we taking off? Like, reroutes happen. So now we're getting reroute. Reroutes are fun for nobody. Because it puts you at the mercy of scheduling. And scheduling is the devil. Let me just go ahead and tell you that now. You never want to be at the mercy of scheduling. You never want scheduling to be in charge of your schedule, because scheduling has to put together flight crews so that flights can get out close to on time. They're pretty much scrambling, and they just need somebody who's legal, and they need a body that's legal. That's all they are looking for. So if you're legal to work 8 more hours and you've already worked 5 hours already, they're going to put you there. Like, nobody looks forward to a reroute. Nobody wants delays, because delays mean reroutes, and reroutes mean I can't work the schedule that I was given. And I was looking forward to my long San Antonio, or I was looking forward to my long Phoenix layover. Now I'm going to be in Jackson, Mississippi for just 9 hours. I don't want that, you know. And I just worked a 12-hour day. So that's how that worked. Nobody wants reroutes. Nobody wants delays. So when passengers are mad about the delay, just know that flight attendants are usually upset as well, because that means that we might be at the mercy of scheduling. And that's not going to make anybody happy. 5. Pouring Coke is the easiest part of the job, okay? You can shuffle peanuts and Coke and coffee effortlessly. You want to know the stressful part of the job? Boarding. Boarding is the most stressful part of the job. What's stressful is catering, not giving you everything you need to have a successful flight. So now you don't have enough peanuts to pass out, or enough cookies to pass out, or maybe they didn't give you a Coke drawer, so all you have is juices, or maybe they didn't give you any liquor, and everybody wants liquor, they want to buy liquor, and you have nothing. Like, pouring Coke is the easy part of the job. It's the safety related stuff that stresses you out, because now you smell something, now you're on alert, the captain is calling, and because turbulence is coming, and you're in the aisle serving your drinks or whatever, and now you're having to hurry up and push back because you don't know when that turbulence is going to hit, and you need to be seated as quickly as possible, but you have a 100-pound cart that you still have to roll all the way from the back of the aircraft to the front of the aircraft. So pouring Coke, that's the easy part. Don't be stressed out about that. Talking to people, that's the easy part of the job. It's all the other stuff, boarding, dealing with catering issues, dealing with passenger issues. It's that type of thing that's going to always kind of make you upset and make the job a lot more stressful than it has to be. Number 6, no crew is the same. You will find yourself flying with some amazing people, some people that you want to keep in your life forever. You're going to want to hold on to them forever because you all had so much fun in Vegas on your 17-hour layover. You all found so much to do at the little speakeasy in Wichita, Kansas. You all had some good jump seat therapy. You just love these people. I haven't flown with my flight attendant bestie in months. And I miss her like crazy, but our schedules aren't the same. So we can't really fly together because I'm usually flying on Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays, and she's flying on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. And it just works out for our schedules better that way, because this job is a seniority-based job. So now that you can hold what you want to hold, you kind of want to hold on to what you can hold. And sometimes you'll try to fly a crappy trip because at least you know you're with the people that you really enjoy most. But just know that no crew is ever the same. And sometimes you can fly with the people that you love flying with, but it'll never be like the crew that you had when you went here or when you went to Vegas for 17 hours. So much happens on these layovers. You have a ball with people because many times you're experiencing a lot of firsts with random people. Like my first time in Amsterdam was with people that I don't remember. My first time in Milan was with people I don't remember. The first time I went to Iceland, I don't remember who I was with. Or rather, I remember who I was with, but I haven't flown with any of those people since. And when I tell you I still have pictures with them, we created some great memories. It was fun. And the bond is different with flight attendants because of that. Because you will experience a lot of firsts in this job with people that you don't know or people that you just met. You have a different trust, a different understanding with other flight attendants because, this job is just so different and so unique. So just know that no crew is ever the same. You can fly with people that you like, but for some it doesn't really happen that easy or that effortlessly. You really have to put in work to try to get your schedules to, be the same. And sometimes it's not even worth the stress. So you just hope that the crew you're with is a great crew, and that you have a great time with this crew. And the good thing about this job is that even if you have a terrible time or the crew is terrible, horrible, you hate these people, you don't have to fly with them again. So it's like a win-win. You got to pick your poison in this job. You got to pick your poison. And hey, if you're terrible, I don't have to see you for another day. It was great. I have a lot of people on my no-fly list, and I'm just like, this is great. I know not to fly with you again. Okay, my last point, number 7. And this is really important because I wish I had known about this when I was in training. So everybody talks about how great the layovers are, but nobody talks about how long the layovers are. And 10 hours rest does not mean 8 hours of sleep, okay? That is something I think is overlooked in many airline trainings. Ultimately, it depends on the base that you're at. When I was based in New York, I had long layovers. And that's because in New York, we flew cross country all the time. So I was always on the West Coast. My first trip was to San Diego. The people in Phoenix at our hotel knew me. Okay, I was in Phoenix so much because I love Phoenix or whatever. So I was always in Phoenix. I was always in Vegas. I could bid for those layovers. I held those layovers. My layovers were long. I had fun with my crew, and even if I didn't care for my crew, I was going to go out by myself because I had been there enough times. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what new place I wanted to try or whatever the case was. So I'm gonna always go have fun, okay, on my long layovers. But now that I'm based in Atlanta, I'm getting layovers that are like 9 hours and 26 minutes, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy because 9 hours. So let's just talk about 9 hours and 48-minute layovers. So that's not including the hour and a half pickup time that I need to take out of that, because so now my layover is 8 hours or whatever. So 9 hour and 48-minute rest, right? So you have to take away the hour and 15 or hour and 30-minute prior that you have to have for pickup. And let's say you still have to wait for the shuttle, the hotel van, or whatever is coming to get you to take you to the hotel. So sometimes they're running late, they're behind, they forget, they're telling you to call them when you land so that they don't waste gas and blah, blah, blah. So now that's a wait as well. It may not be a long wait, but it's a wait, and you really feel it on these 9-hour layovers or these 10-hour layovers. Like, it is not a good feeling. So you're always going to be tired because jet lag hits you differently as a flight attendant. It either hits you hard at one time or it hits you randomly. Like, some flight attendants don't really ever sleep that good. And once we do get sleep, it's random. It's random sleep. So 10 hours rest does not mean 8 hours of sleep. Once you get into that hotel room, you still have to use the bathroom, take a shower, maybe wash your hair. Sometimes you're hungry, you just want to eat a snack. You still have to decompress. Little silly, stupid stuff is on your mind. Like, I forgot to give 14A a Band-Aid and they really needed that Band-Aid. Oh, man. Like, that's the kind of crazy stuff that you think about in your head when you're trying to force yourself to go to sleep early. That's ultimately what you're trying to force your body to do. And your body is like trying to say, no, we got to do this. What about that? So just know that in this job, sleep can be also hard to come by as well. Just know that 10 hours rest is very common in the flight attendant world. And just know that you may not get a full 8 hours of rest. You'll be lucky to get your 4. So I'm Niara Nior. I hope these tips helped. I hope they answered maybe some of the questions that you may have about the aviation industry or just becoming a flight attendant. If you have any more questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. I'll be answering a few more questions that you all have. Many of you all talk to me on Instagram at Niara Nior. If you have any questions, just drop your comments there in my inbox or under my stories, as many of you all do. So just let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what you want to hear about. I'm here to talk. I'm here to answer any questions and let you know about my experience as a flight attendant. Thank you for watching.